Hey, Stevie. Thank you for inviting your followers. If you would please share as well. Happy Friday, everybody. We're going to invite our Cloud Hub friends over as well. And you can also catch us on Cloud Hub if you'd like. cloudhub.com/Susan Knowles if you'd rather see us there. This is going to be a quiet Friday, I'm thinking. Quiet Friday. Been a lot of people, I think, who haven't been sleeping. I'm one of them. So let me see over here on Cloud Hub. All right. Just remember also that you have to look for the live show. Good morning, Cindy. How are you? Hey, GS Riza. Hey, Co. Good to see everybody. Is it Co? Is it Joe? I don't know. Is that Michael? Is that Michael here? I'm not sure. Hey, some of the names. Okay. Hey, Alan, good to see you. Hey, Leo, keep the faith. All right, hopefully you're able to join. Ellie Mae, good to see you. Hey, Grateful Mike. Barbara, good to see you. Noelle, Cindy, Alan. All right, so I'm going to read a little bit of Psalm 140, then we'll get started. Deliver me, O Lord, from evil men. Preserve me from violent men who plan evil things in their hearts. They continually gather together for war. They sharpen their tongues like a serpent. The poison of asps is under their lips. Keep me, O Lord, from the hands of the wicked. Preserve me from violent men who have purpose to make my steps stumble. The proud have hidden a snare for me and cords. They have spread a net by the wayside. They have set traps for me. Amen. Boy, are we seeing a lot of that stuff going on. What am I watching on? You're on Facebook, Barbara. Hey, Dora. Good to see you. Don't you know where you're at, Barbara? Good morning, Paula. Good morning, Loretta. Good to see you. All right. Wow. So much. Hey, Prophetic Win Forever. How are you? So much is going on. It's incredible. Hey, Bonnie. Good morning. Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Barbara doesn't know where she's at. Okay. Hey, Danielle. Good to see you. Good morning. I tell you, the world is upside down. We've got President Trump, who yesterday came out with an executive order against basically Twitter, but all social media. And too many channels and only Facebook gave notification. Oh, that's great. That's always good. Good morning, Patrick, from the asylum. No kidding. New Mexico asylum, and it's taking over the world. Anyway, getting back to what I was saying, the executive order was signed yesterday, and it basically what he's doing is he's regulating social media until they stop regulating everybody else's free speech. And he also took away the government benefits from them, so they get a lot of government assistance, if you will, and they're not going to be getting that right now. But it doesn't seem that Twitter really cares what's happening because they're going ahead and they are just doing whatever they want. They censored the president again this morning, basically. And it doesn't look like they're going to stop. Not only did they go after the president. Hello, Texas Kilo. How are you? They went after the president, but they also went after the official page of the White House. So the White House Twitter, they went after it too, because what they did was President Trump mentioned something about, I can't let this happen, and watching Minnesota or Minneapolis be, burned to the ground, basically. And he said, they called them thugs, and then he said, first comes the looting, and then comes the shooting. So people on Twitter didn't like him saying thugs. Also, people didn't like President Trump saying first the looting, then the shooting, because now they're trying to make it look like that he's advocating for violence and that he's calling for the shooting of the protesters. And it's just BS. It's just political posturing by Twitter. Hey, Aussie Nick. Guess the truth hurts. Yeah, Colleen, it does. and they're going out with a vengeance, but didn't censor Kathy Griffin when she said someone should inject Trump with the air to kill him with a syringe. I remember, Bonnie. No. Good morning, Jeff. How are you? Yeah, they didn't do that at all. But anything that the president says now, they are going to slam. I really think, if the president, Haley, yeah, twice she said that. Colleen said, yeah, she did, and she said F Trump, and just put air in the needle, and that'll, that's it. It was insanity what she said. She advocated for violence herself. She was talking about herself being violent. If anything should have been censored, it should have been her. But no, of course, we don't censor those people who are actually advocating for violence. But what I was going to say is that I really think the president should look for a new platform. He should come to Cloud Hub. He really should come to Cloud Hub. And yeah, she is nuts, Cully. Yeah, it's sickening, Colleen. Absolutely. But he should come to Cloud Hub. He should broaden his horizons. He should broaden the scope of his message. If he comes to Cloud Hub, Twitter will close down. Aussie Nick is saying gab.com. I'm saying, go to other platforms. I prefer Cloud Hub. I know the guy from Gab is trying to get the president over there on Gab and has a page set up for him. But you know what? Cloud Hub can set up a page for him as well. And I know that the guy from Gab is against that Section 230, against the president trying to regulate that. As he was explaining, is that Section 230 is the First Amendment of the Internet. And I understand what he's saying, because if you start regulating social media, that means that any content, they're responsible for the content that's put there too. But they brought that on themselves. And I understand it's really bad. Cloud Hub not available in all countries still. Well, Aussie Nick, I mean, that should be only a while. But we don't really need right now to go to other countries. We need America. Hello from Boston, my first time here, and I love your show. Thank you, Track 72. Is it okay to tell a lie? No, Sunshine, it's not. Hey, Bobby, good morning. Good to see you. So they're shooting each other. We know that. Yeah. Hey, Covfefe Soul Man. Agree we should use multiple platforms. I believe that he is already on Parler. No, Covfefe Soul Man, he is not on Parler. That's what Parler had said in the very beginning, to get you to go to Parler. I don't know if they thought the president was going to go there or whatever. Jeff said he should come to Cloud Hub. He can't go to a platform that is only one-sided. He represents all Americans. Cloud Hub is the right place for him. We are created for civic, social, and political networking and engagement. So Jeff, if you go to cloudhub.com right now, so cloudhub.com /Susan Knowles, you can join the conversation over there. Jeff, who is the owner of Cloud Hub, you can talk to him right there too. Texas Kilo, 75 million new customers will expand any platform reach. If he goes to Cloud Hub, Twitter's done. Twitter will be done. Because right now, most people are on Twitter who want to be there. They're Trump supporters. Anybody who's a conservative is on Twitter supporting the president. POTUS needs to be on a global reach platform, Aussie said. Well, Aussie Nick, he can go to multiple platforms, but he needs to come to Cloud Hub. If he doesn't want to be censored, come to Cloud Hub. So, anyway, hey, Tim Marvin, good to see you. Barbara said Carpe. Yeah, Carpe, what, I forget his last name. Carpe went to Cloud Hub. Yes. He has a show there. Hello from Berkeley, California. Carpe Dunkum, I think that's what he goes by. And he's Jack Posovic's friend, as you guys know. And he's now on Cloud Hub. And Jeff is saying Cloud Hub will be global soon. Carpe Dunkum. Yes. So Aussie Nick, did you hear that? Jeff said Cloud Hub will be global soon. So spread the word. I know you're in Australia and you want to get on Cloud Hub. You should be on Cloud Hub. You should be, with everything else. Globally, the president wants to be global. I know. Well, Aussie Nick, don't worry. We'll let you know when Cloud Hub goes global, and then you can be one of the first to jump over there. So why don't you go over there now, Aussie Nick? You can go to cloudhub.com /Susan Knowles. See if you can go in there and join the chat right now. If you have any questions, just ask Jeff over there. Hey, Sally, good morning. Good to see you. So I don't know if you guys were watching everything last night, but I was watching Minneapolis burn down. I was watching Columbus, Ohio burn down. I was watching Louisville, Kentucky burn down, burn down, burn down, burn down. It was sad. And one of the saddest things I saw last night, I mean, it all was sad, but to watch the third precinct of Minneapolis Police Department, watching the police have to run on top of the roof. Yeah, Ohio and Kentucky too. Yes, run and on top of the roof to try to throw tear gas to try to stop these people. And when they couldn't, they had to be like airlifted out of there. I mean, how crazy is that? That the police department is running from thugs. Are they Obama's brown shirts mobilized? Could be, Bonnie. I don't know. St. Paul also, Cully said. And then to watch that and to see the Minneapolis mayor, really? My gosh, that guy, I thought it couldn't get much worse, but has anybody seen him lately? Hey, Sally, have you listened to the mayor? That guy has no clue as to what's going on or how to fix it. He looked like a soaking wet rat that's going, what do I do? Is he 12? I know, Dee. I know. So many people that really need that police station will suffer. Yes, Trek 72. Soulman said, why did the police stand down? What's going on? I don't know. I heard the mayor talking about, well, it's just a building. We can replace the building, but we can't replace people, which is true. But you've got to also be the police department. Protect the other people who are paying the police department to protect them. Protests in Seattle this weekend, Paula said. Of course. Why wouldn't we not have that in Seattle? Grateful Mike said it's a train wreck. It is a horrible train wreck. A horrible train wreck. Yes, absolutely. Good morning, John Mott. Good to see you. Democrats. Yeah, I know. It was just bad. I mean, and Target will be closing 27 other stores. Well, they're going to have to. Was watching YouTube last night and a guy approached the reporter, said he was an organizer. Well, I mean, you've got Black Lives Matter coming out. You've got Antifa, no doubt. You've got Kaepernick, who's back saying, oh, well, the only thing that we can do is to, blah, 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 blah. He's got nothing else to do. So I guess the cop is a good guy. No, nobody's saying that. I know you want to espouse that L3 Chapo so you can be getting into an argument. Nobody's saying that. So you need to listen to what people are saying. Don't try to make stuff up so that you can create an argument. Didn't all these riots happen before the 26th election too? Yes, Bonnie. Yes, they're coming. It's coming back. It's around election time. It comes back. National Guard called up finally Minnesota. T. Adams said, yeah. Hey, I was able to get on Cloud Hub. Yay, Loretta. Cool. All you're doing, talk about the looters. Yeah, that's because that's what my subject is. I talked about, Elle, if you'd been here yesterday, I talked all about the police. But again, you come into a scope, you come in for 5 seconds and you want to criticize because you have a chip on your shoulder and you have an agenda. So if you were here yesterday, you heard me talk all about the police. Now, if you want, you can go and listen to that scope from yesterday and then come back and we can have a balanced discussion. Or you can just sit there with a chip on your shoulder and an agenda and say things and get yourself muted. It was sad watching those police officers retreating from their own police station. Yep, I blame the mayor. New low-income housing project burned to the ground. Yeah, did you see that? The whole thing burned to the ground. Them stirring it up to create civil unrest to disrupt. Absolutely. Where's Jussie when you need him? Michael said. El Chapo is using a drug dealer name. Yeah, I know. I know, Cully, because he's not creative enough to come up with a better name on his own. Let's see. I have a Democrat mayor, a Democrat governor, and a Democrat police chief who is black. They are apparently okay with the rioting, Tim Marvin said. MSNBC telling the reporters and anchors to not call the rioters rioters or call the riots riots. Yeah, of course not. Let's call them peaceful protests turned not as peaceful. How's that? I like seeing the rednecks protecting the store from looters, Kilo said. I tell you what, it disappoints me to no end to see America acting the way it is. Bobby said, Susan, I appreciate and admire you. Thank you, Bobby. I'm so sick of people trying to decide us by race. I thought the Obama administration was over. Must be election time. Yes, soul man. They are rioters, period. I'm not surprised the rioters are angry, though. Anger is one thing, fan of BTS. You can have anger all day long if you want. It's how you release that anger that is either appropriate or inappropriate. Burning down a city because you're angry, I'm going to go with it's not appropriate, no matter what the circumstances. I think there's better ways to handle it. Number one, we don't even have all of the facts yet. Yeah, but burn your own community. I know, it's ridiculous. Cities run by Democrats top to bottom. Yes, Tim Marvin, absolutely. They allow them to get away with acting like that for so long. Now it's come back to bite them in the butt. Yep. They arrested the pawn shop defending and shooting thug looting his business, which is crazy, which is really crazy, Cully. But I mean, it's kind of like, I heard this one woman saying yesterday, I mean, how many peaceful protests have the Black Lives Matter movement done? Loads and nothing has been done. I haven't seen Black Lives Matter do peaceful protests. Haven't seen that. I've seen them go down on the knee, but that's all I've seen. I've never understood this stupidity, Dee said. Well, and I understand while they're doing it. Looters look for any opportunity to steal and take advantage of it. Yeah. Hey, Renee, good morning. I understand why they're doing it. No, I've seen Black Lives Matter mostly take a knee. Susan and everyone, how is it that the murderer cop has police protection around his house? Well, Colleen, first of all, we don't know that the cop was a murderer. So calling somebody a murderer before you have factual information, I think is not right. We don't know. We don't have the coroner's report. We don't have all the facts. I want to wait for all of the facts. Now, what I do feel is inappropriate, regardless of what the coroner's report says or anything else, is that no one should put their knee on somebody else's neck, period. For me, that's a no-brainer. That is just like, that's it. I don't know whether the cop, what he's going to be charged with, if anything, and the other cops, I have no idea. Haven't seen any of the reports. Dr. King said in a speech that the Black community lose when they riot and burn down their own. It's true, Brian. It's true. It would look the same as if Timberwolf won the NBA champions. Makes no sense. We will burn it down. Yeah. We do. We crushed George's neck for 7 minutes. Oh, he was resisting arrest. He wasn't armed. I don't think he was resisting arrest that I could see, but I didn't see the whole thing. I appreciate your opinion and we'll have to agree to disagree. Well, Colleen, that's fine. But it'd be, if that same thing, if that was you, Colleen, I would not want to convict you without all of the information. I wouldn't say I saw Colleen do that and I think it's murder. I don't think that's fair of me to do that to you. I think what in our system in America, we're innocent until proven guilty. Now, like I said, the only thing that I disagree with strongly is the fact you probably never experienced a beatdown. Well, Mab Frames, you don't know who I am. You don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about my background. So you don't know. But you have to be fair to people. I have to agree as well. He was murdered once he was subdued. It's over. Too much force. T. Adams, you don't know what he died of. You don't know what he died of. And also what you don't understand is you've got to in a court of law, you've got to prove elements of a crime. Murder has certain elements. Manslaughter has certain elements. Criminal negligence has certain elements. George was accused of fraud. He wasn't armed. He wasn't resisting arrest. It was murder. Well, so no, you still can't say that. You can say that he was being accused of fraud. Yes. Supposedly having counterfeit $20 bills. That has been factual information. Was he murdered? We still don't know. Again, if you go look up the definitions of murder, you have to meet every element of it to prove murder. Let me give you an example. I know, Kilo, it was ridiculous. The whole thing was ridiculous. I don't think he should have ever been arrested, but that's just me, But anyway, larceny is the picking up and carrying away of the personal property of another with the intent to permanently deprive. So if you're going to prove larceny, it's the picking up. Okay, picking up. We're going to say a purse. Picking up a purse. You can't. Picking it up alone is not enough, right? That doesn't meet all the elements of larceny. The picking up and carrying away. Okay, you've got to pick it up. Now you've got to carry away of the personal property of somebody else with the intent. What was the intent when that person picked up the purse? Was it to pick it up and move it because it was in the way? Was it to pick it up and steal it because because they wanted what was in it? With the intent to permanently deprive. That I wanted to steal it with the intent to take everything in it to steal from that owner. Or did I just want to move it because it's in my way? Do you understand? It's not cut and dry. You look at something, and in a court of law, you've got to prove the elements, all of them, or it doesn't exist. So I know people want to say intent is quite difficult to prove, in my opinion, but you don't always need intent in murder, okay, or in manslaughter. You don't always need that. They're different elements. And all I'm saying is you got to look at stuff like that because it does matter. It's easy to get emotional and say things when you don't look at the elements of what you have to prove in a court of law. Another diversion so Dems could push something through Congress to advance their agenda, mail-in balloting for November election. Could be, Bonnie. It absolutely could be. You don't know. I heard he was wanted for forgery. Yes, Rue. Supposedly he went into like a convenience store or some store, and he was trying to pass a counterfeit $20 bill or something like that. That's what I heard. Don't even know if that's true. I'm just glad they have figured out not to destroy their own areas. Yeah, I know, Rue. There was a black business owner crying because they robbed and destroyed his life's work, went back and tried to steal his safe, John Mott said. Facebook is messing with Tim's post. Yeah, join the club. Good morning, Karen. Yeah, see, we don't even know, Kilo, because you say bad check. I've heard a $20 bill. I have no idea. Someone says if they can't breathe and you don't stop, that's intent enough for me. JJ said, JJ, what if people say I can't breathe when they actually can? You see, I know what you want to say, and I know what you want it to be. And I'm not saying it isn't, but it still has to be proven in a court of law. The police wore a t-shirt that said cops for Trump, Sunshine said. Never heard that one. And even if he did, so what? Well, it might be he did not know it was fake, Barbara said. I mean, again, when you don't have factual information, you're condemning someone without facts. How would you like that to be you or somebody in your family? Cop had to have a lot of common sense, or might his brain not screwed in right? Well, I don't know. I don't know, Tarilla. I tell you what's going to be go against the cops. If they have a record of misconduct, that will be used against them. And it's also going to be used against Minneapolis Police Department if they had somebody on their police department that had a bad conduct record and they kept putting up with it. If he can talk, he can breathe, just saying, well, possibly. Wait and let the investigation happen before total judgment. Absolutely, Sally. Oh, come on, his knee technique isn't enough. Even a trained and correct technique, George wasn't resisting. Nobody said George was resisting, fan. I don't know why you keep going back to that. And nobody is saying that his knee on his neck was a technique. I've already said the knee on the neck for me was inappropriate, was wrong, and something will be done about that. There'll be a consequence for that no matter what. But again, you can't just say stuff without having facts to back it up. Why were people videotaping instead of helping? Tammy said. Well, Tammy, they should have been calling 911 and calling the police department and saying one of your police officers has their knee on this guy's neck and he's going to die if somebody doesn't do something about it. You can't go over and try to push a cop off or get in line of what the cops are doing. You'll get arrested. Trump called people looting and burning thugs equal racist. Obama said the same in Baltimore riots. Well, that's because Obama can do no wrong. It's called, Rocky, again, you've got to prove it. Someone from the police department came out and said on live TV, said that George was resisting arrest. Didn't hear that. Don't know the facts. Again, I wasn't there. I want to hear the facts. That's why the other 3 police officers were fired. Well, supposedly the other police officers were fired, yes, because they were police officers and they sat there and they did nothing, according to what's being said. Now, again, I've seen some video. I don't know if that's true. We got to hear their testimony, got to hear witnesses that were in the area, what the witnesses are saying, and they're gathering all that information right now. We just need to wait for all the facts. The police with the knee on the neck has an extensive record of abuse claims. So they say, Soul Man. So they say. Hey, Karen. I saw the video. It's manslaughter, pure and simple. Alexa said, yes, Susan, we need all the facts. This has been so sad. It's been horrible, Timmy. It's horrible. One man assaulted someone bad, 4 men watching, disgusting. Well, if 4 men were watching, and if it's shown that the police officer actually killed him by doing that, you got a whole different ball game there. The officer didn't even check on the guy, didn't even look at him, Rue said. I feel the cop with the knee will get manslaughter once tried, Mike said. And it's funny because the guy who came out, who's doing the investigation, the DA, said something to the effect that, let me see if I have it here. He said in a news conference that there is other evidence that does not support a criminal charge against the police officer. That right there tells you there may be something in the coroner's report that he's referring to. I have no idea. And again, it raises a suspicion, but without having the facts, I don't know what it is. And I wouldn't be able to say. Did the other officers have a clear view of the knee on the neck? Don't know, D. Don't know. That will be another thing that they have to ask. Yahweh have mercy on us all, Rocky said. And again, that's why you have to ask all these questions. You have to watch all of the video. You have to watch it all together in context. And so that it's important, whether it's you that this happened to, somebody you know, or somebody you don't know. I mean, seriously, we try people on social media these days and on the streets before we even know what's going on. What happened is sad, but the looting, etc., isn't going to help the situation, Carol Ann Davis said. It's true. And also, George Floyd's girlfriend came out last night and said George would not want this. I think he said he's seen other footage that didn't support a criminal charge. Yep, I don't know, Nick. I'm just reading what the quote was that I had. The cop had a history of complaints against him about excessive force during his 19-year career. John Mott, that's what we are told in the media. I don't know if that's true. I don't know that I trust the media. Then later, prosecutor corrected their statement. Correction was confusing. I know. Again, we're getting what the mainstream media is telling us. Gave me anxiety watching the video because it happened to me 15 years ago. Scary feeling. I think watching that film was horrible. Had I been there, honestly, and seeing what he was saying, I would have called 911. I would have. I would not have sat there and watched a guy die. Whatever happened doesn't justify the rioting, looting, and burning. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't believe the mainstream media, to tell the truth, keeps racial divide. Exactly, Sally. So we have to wait until the evidence is gathered and it is looked at, and then charges are brought if deemed like it should be. The other police officer did not stop the guy after the excessive force, drop camera phone, make citizens arrest. But Texas, we're assuming they all saw what was going on. Again, we're assuming everything. We weren't there. There is no fact to support putting your full body weight on the upper vertebrae. Alexis, nobody's saying that they are supporting it, but or supporting that fact, but nobody's saying was that murder or not. You can't make that assumption when you don't know what his cause of death was. I know you'd like to, but again, in a court of law, there are things that you have to prove. You can't just say, well, that's murder. I want to have a good day. Doesn't work that way. Doesn't work that way. I know everybody would like this to be cut and dry, but it's not. And when if and when it comes out that they're charging him with murder, let me just tell you something. It doesn't mean that he's going to be convicted of murder, even if they did that. They can plead to a lesser charge also. You have to remember that. See the two work together as security for a club. Huh. Yeah, see, again, Cully, I don't know. I did kind of hear that, but I don't know if that's true or something the media is making up. I have no idea. I have no idea. Nope, justice must be searched out. Most of the people I saw were white. I know, Rue. I saw that too. I saw this method of restraint is illegal. Well, Alexis, like I said yesterday, in the police academy, we did choke each other out in practice. We didn't go as far as knocking each other out, but we did that in practice. I don't know what the rules are these days. I don't even know if they do such things as that. I don't know if this guy was a jerk, this cop. I don't know if this guy was stupid. I don't know if this guy did things intentional. I don't know. We do not have the evidence. Again, I know everybody wants to say it's this or that, but there's no proof to back up your this or that yet. So you have to wait. You can say, I believe, it was murder, but you don't have the facts to back it up. And if you're going in as an attorney, you've got to prove those facts in a court of law. You can't have due process here, not in this chat or media. All facts haven't been examined. Exactly. And again, Sally, whether it's your relative, my relative, you, me, or somebody else, I wouldn't want people to jump to conclusions and say stuff before all the evidence comes out. That's like, saying, oh, yeah, we have to believe her when she's saying this happened to her, as they did in Kavanaugh. But and suddenly we don't do that anymore when it comes to Joe Biden. You have to be fair about what you're doing for everybody. We're at the halfway point. If you could please retweet, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Cully, for reminding me. Cannot believe we got here that fast. That's crazy. And Karen, if you're still in, I just saw it's your birthday. So happy birthday, Karen. So anyway, again, I know people are emotional. The whole thing was disgusting. It should never have happened. But I don't know what it's going to come out as being. I really don't know. I don't know. I feel horrible that a man died because of an allegation of a forgery. That's what I say at this point. And the only other saying, like I was saying, that I don't feel that anybody should put their knee on anybody's neck for whatever reason. That's the only two things that I can say for sure that factually that I can say. Because all the rest of it, I have no facts to give an opinion. True, Susan Danielle said. Yes, so sad, broke my heart. Yep. Can't wait for the feds to arrest Jack. That'll never happen. Unless one is right there to witness all of it firsthand, our opinions are worthless. Yes, Tim, absolutely. That sounds ridiculous that a man should die being arrested. Well, Aussie Nick, again, you don't know his cause of death. Hey, Gary, COVID is losing its grip onto the next MS. Exactly, Elaine. Yes, other than murder, the action was uncalled for. Yes, Rue. Yeah, third degree, if we're lucky. Mad Frame said, we must pray for truth and justice. Yes, true. Aussie Nick said, if those cops get off, there will be more riots. Trump economy will never come back. Well, I don't think the Trump economy is dependent upon whether there are riots or not. But I do think that when you are rioting and you're burning down your whole neighborhood, it's not going to help the economy. Although what I do see happening is later on, they will be, crying and shouting and saying, we demand that you rebuild our community. So it's like, well, you burned it down. Why don't you rebuild it? It's also President Kennedy's birthday, Thomas said. So, just saying, again, you can be angry and you can get out and you can protest. But as the one woman said, we tried MLK's way. Now we're going Malcolm X's way. No, come on. Agree with you, Susan Nanette said. I mean, there's no justification for that. There's no justification for murder or for doing things like that either. Hello from Ireland. Really, Pilot Mike? Wow. Hey, yo, pyridoxine oxide. They burden their neighbors. It's all they have accomplished. Yep, I will say it looks actionable in court. Tim, I will say based on what I've seen, there could be to do something to do with a civil rights violation, maybe negligence, wrongful death action. Depends, though. A lot of it is going to depend. I mean, even if you get a criminal action, there's going to be civil actions regardless. So the truth will come out. Yep, Elaine. And it's too bad we didn't wait for the facts. Probably don't see this in Ireland. Oh, I'm sure you see mad frames, this and worse. Has anyone else seen any video of the guy behind the car and then on the ground from the opposite direction? As I have saw them up until they take him behind the car, it stops. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I've seen, just snippets of like 2 videos, and that's not all of it. So I don't know. We don't see the police cams. We don't know what's going on. We don't see, we don't have witnesses that were there, what they saw. We need all of that. 2 wrongs don't make a right, Bonnie said. Yep, that's true. Absolutely true. And again, we need, for justice to be served. You saw behind the car video. Yeah, I saw that too. And I saw it so briefly, I don't know all that I was seeing, to be honest with you, Cully. It looked like the cops were lined up, all of them, but I don't know. And I don't know what the other cops were doing. I'd have to really look at that video again to see exactly what I saw in the video. So, and also what happens is you with mainstream media, why is Kaepernick hatred for America? He was raised by white folks, went to good schools. Well, Danielle, he got a girlfriend from Black Lives Matter. I think that's where Kaepernick started, down his road of advocacy. Who will target an AutoZone sue after the burning of the places? I would not rebuild there. I know, Kilo. Good cops have a tougher job now. Exactly, Mike. And you can't look at the behavior of a couple of cops and think that label all cops are like that, because that's like generalizing a race. You don't want to do that either. That's not right. So I would say if people, and they're not going to, but take a deep breath and wait for the facts. I'm saddened that we can't get the truth from our media. Yeah, because I was going to say too, I've seen some tweets coming out about Mr. Floyd that I'm not going to talk about because I don't know if they're true. I've seen tweets that have been photoshopped left and right that turned out not to be. No, but they will cover each other. Not necessarily frames. It depends on who the person is. It's a case-by-case basis. Not the same. People choose a profession. People don't choose a race. Oh my gosh. Come on, anarchy. Let's just stop with that. It would not be right to put people generalize about a race. It doesn't matter whether they're guilty, innocent, doing this or that. I'm talking about in general. When you generalize anything, you're wrong. People never get a fair trial if tried in the mainstream media. No, they don't, Sally. No, they don't. And anymore, that's what we've become. We've become a society where we see one thing or we see 2 things and we go, okay, that's it. I made up my mind. We're done. Let's move on to the next. And you've just, crucified a person, if you will, based on what you thought that you saw or what you thought somebody else thought they saw. I think that CNN reporter wanted to get arrested. Probably, Cully. Probably. CNN can't make news unless they fake it. So why not? I guess the guy was told to move and he stood there and he wouldn't move. So, okay, then you get arrested. Because, it's not like you're standing on the street corner and watching the sun come up. There's a riot going on. And the police have a right, when there's a riot going on, to tell you to get out of the way. When do we start believing liars? They lied about everything else. I know, Sally, I know. But suddenly we believe everything. If we could still trust the media, this would be easier to understand. Yep. It absolutely would be, Bonnie. And it's a shame that we cannot trust the media. It's a shame that we can't trust a lot of our politicians. And it's a shame that, in general, we can't trust a lot of people. And that's why it is so imperative in these days, because of the situation that we find ourselves in, so imperative that we research and get the factual information, know everything before we cast judgment on somebody. Because I'll tell you, it's going to happen to you. If you are so readily just like, yep, that's it, it's going to happen to you. There's no such thing as a trusted, non-biased news source. It's true, anarchy, and there's no such thing as a non-biased person. Everybody has their own general background that they're coming from. Video shows Floyd as handcuffed on the ground, the officer placing full weight on the neck. Yes, Alexis, what is your point? I hope President Trump sends the National Guard in and restores peace. The cops abandon the precinct. Yeah, because of their mayor, Nanette. What would Jesus tell us to do? I think Jesus would tell us, and I can't speak for Jesus, but I would think he would say, wait and be fair. Be fair, gather all the facts. Don't judge a person until you know all the facts. And so, yes, we've said over and over, watching somebody put a knee on somebody's neck is wrong. I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a police officer, if you're a priest, if you're an adult down the street. I don't care. It was wrong to do that. But that doesn't make somebody a murderer necessarily until you have been able to prove all of the facts. The bad cop and Floyd worked together as security guards in previous job. Pilot Mike, that's a rumor that's out there. I don't know if that's true. I've seen it. Somebody else mentioned it, but I have no idea if that's true or not. I don't know. And it's funny, if they did work together, I don't know if they remembered each other, because I didn't hear Mr. Floyd say, hey, so-and-so, you know me, we used to work together, or anything else. It's wrong because it is medically dangerous. Yes, Alexis, but we know that. Jesus wouldn't stand and watch the guy put his knee on his child's neck. Well, JJ, then you should talk to all the people around there who were filming it and talking about it rather than calling 911. Good point, Susan. We must weed out the fake news. We have to, Nanette. We have to. Do you ever look at the First Amendment auditors from Minnesota? Minnesota, the PDs are scheming. I don't know what you mean by that, Kilo, but not sure. Yes, I'm not sure either, Pilot Mike said. Yeah, and that, again, you've got so much that goes around on mainstream media that you don't know is true. One day, I looked at a tweet that was supposedly from Chelsea Clinton, and it was photoshopped. I mean, there was no way that you could tell that was not from Chelsea Clinton. It sounded like her. It looked just like her account and everything else. But it ended up being photoshopped. And I found that out because I went there and I looked at her account on the date and everything that was supposed to be, and it wasn't there. Now, I could have gone ahead and spread the rumor, but I'd be spreading a rumor. I try to watch OAN news. And Danielle, let me just tell you something. Even OAN, don't sit there and believe everything that they spoon out to you either. Do your own research. If it's important to you, if you want to go talk about some things, you have to say, facts, if you kill someone by car by accident, it's manslaughter. Not necessarily, Alexis, not necessarily. It didn't take long. Minnesota mayor is blaming Trump. Shocking. Yeah. Well, Cully, he didn't like it because Trump called him out last night. And he didn't like that last night. So now he's probably thinking, how can I get him back? But the guy looks like a wet noodle. He really does. And he acted like one. It was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, gosh, if you're going to come out there, then lead. All MSM has their own agenda, Renee said. Yeah, it's true. And there's no consequences for lying. You notice that? There's no consequences for lying. Really. I mean, you can do defamation on a private citizen and have consequences. Almost everybody else, whatever. And that's wrong. It's totally wrong. And what the president did yesterday with the executive order, I don't know if it's going to be right or wrong. I don't know what it's going to change. I don't know what it's going to do. But I think, the best thing to do, leave Twitter, go somewhere else. The cop was pissed, acted out of mouth. You don't know that, Alexis. You have no idea. You weren't there. You're, looking at a cop and going, oh, I don't like his facial expression. Doesn't mean that he acted out of malice. Doesn't mean that he was pissed. Maybe he has a face that looks like that all the time. You don't know. You weren't there. I know what you saw, Alexis, but you weren't there. You don't know him. You don't know Mr. Floyd. I mean, it's people, you're jumping to conclusions. Why would anyone call 911 when police were already in attendance, not bystanders? Because, Aussie Nick, you got to call somebody who's higher up the ladder than those people that are there. You call 911. If you try to interfere with a police officer, you're going to find yourself on the ground or in handcuffs. So the best thing they could have done is call 911 and say, I'm watching a man die because a police officer, your thoughts, that a police officer has his knee on somebody's neck. That's what should have been done rather than standing there going, oh, let me get a picture of this. I'm going to put this on my Facebook. Exactly right, Susan. Yes, Alexa said. His face is pumped up from adrenaline. Mike, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's true. But see, again, everybody who you weren't there, they need to talk to the witnesses that were there. Call in Nick. That's easy to say in hindsight. They didn't know. Well, Nick, it's easy to say in hindsight what you're saying, right? We can't take the law into our own hands. That's right, Nanette. So, next time, maybe good advice, if you see a crime going down or what you think is a crime, instead of sitting there to get your good picture in your little selfie or something, call the police, call whoever you got to call to save somebody's life. Did they say the officer's body cams weren't working? Where's the footage? I don't know, Rue. I don't know. Have no idea. I don't know if there's body cam. Don't know that there wasn't body cam. Again, that's part of what we have no idea about. And we got to wait to find out. What does it say? And a lot of it too. I don't know that we're going to find out all the information, because that could be, but Alexis, you don't know. You don't know that he was murdered, because you again, Alexis, you have got to go look at the definition of murder. You got to be able to prove every single element for that. Filming police is taking action, showing accountability. Not if somebody dies, Nick. Not if somebody dies. So you can take your pictures, all you want, but you need to call 911. Sitting there have been so many times in history. There was a woman who was absolutely in an apartment complex in New York, was raped right in the middle and killed, I believe, was the end result. And what did people do? Nobody called the police. Do you know why? Because they thought somebody else was going to do it. And you need to take action. No, it doesn't mean that, Alexis. You don't know what happened. I know you want to believe that, and it may end up being true, but you don't have the facts. You don't have the facts. Hi, Oz. How are you? And again, look up the legal definition of murder, and you've got to be able to prove all of the elements in that. The filmer is speaking to police. That doesn't matter. What am I going to tell the rapist? Hey, stop raping that woman? Now stop. I'm filming you, rapist. Stop raping that woman. Go call somebody else. When somebody's not acknowledging you, call somebody else. I think they need to retrain officers. No need to put knee on someone's neck. Absolutely agree with that. Good gal. They do. And they need to, they've already doing that, I think, in New York. Yeah, you get it, Clara. You get it. Clara understands. Hey, grandmother. Clara understands what that means. Oz is a grandmother. Gotcha. And so, again, it would, sorry, I read that before. I think that knee to the neck is trained to do that. I don't think so. I was not trained to do that in the police academy. You don't know that, Aussie Nick. You don't know what was going on because you weren't there. I know that's what you want to believe, but until you get all the information, I don't mean just watching a video and 5 seconds of it. Sorry, just got here, still in pain. Oh, Chezzy, glad that you're out of your operation. Gotta go. Love you. Keep it up. Kill the rapist with justified protection. Yeah, well, you have to defend a person. You were in the police academy. Yes, good gal, I was. Years ago. Yes, I was. And I'm also, I went to law school. I was a practicing attorney, and I'm also a psychotherapist. So, I mean, I'm not talking about things I don't have knowledge about. I'm talking about things I do have knowledge about. I have many talents. Yeah. And I make those things back there too. So there's another talent. No, based on the footage I saw, there's all we can go on. Yeah, that's it. That's all you can go on, Nick. And for now, that's all you got. And that's not the complete picture. You have enough credentials to convince me. Thanks, Clara. It's just that I don't like seeing injustice against people on either side. If somebody did something wrong, they need to have a consequence for that. If somebody didn't do something wrong, then we don't need to convict them. Love seeing your Reese as well. Thank you, Nanette. You blew out my knee carrying out the body of the smokehouse. Okay. All right, Kilo, whatever you say. All right. We're gonna have just a minute to do the readings today because I went over time. Did Trump call a press conference today? I don't know. He's supposed to do something about China. So we'll see. All right. Let's start in Revelation chapter 14. Public reading of the Bible while we still can do it legally in this country. Chapter 14. Then I looked, and behold, a lamb standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, like the voice of many waters, and like the voice of loud thunder. And I heard the sound of harpists playing their harps. They sang, as it were, a new song before the throne, before the four living creatures and the elders, and no one could learn that song except the 144,000 who were redeemed from the earth. These are the ones who were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. They are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, being first fruits to God and to the Lamb, and in their mouth was found no deceit, for they are without fault before the throne of God. The proclamations of three angels. Then I saw another angel flying in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach to those who dwell on the earth, to every nation, tribe, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made heaven and earth, the sea and springs of water. And another angel followed, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Then a third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If anyone worships the beast and his image, and receives his mark on his forehead or on his hand, he himself shall also drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out full strength into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascends forever and ever. And they have no rest day or night who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receives the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are those who keep commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Then I heard a voice from heaven saying to me, Write, blessed are the dead who die in the Lord from now on. Yes, says the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works follow them. Reaping the earth's harvest. Then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and on the cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him who sat on the cloud, Thrust in your sickle and reap, for the time has come for you to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. So he who sat on the cloud thrust in his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. Then another reaping the grapes of wrath. Then another angel came out of the temple, which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle. And another angel came out from the altar, who had power over fire, and he cried with a loud cry to him who had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in your sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe. So the angel thrust his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and threw it to the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trampled outside the city, and blood came out of the winepress up to the horses' bridles for 1,600 furlongs. Oh my gosh. I guess Linda said the New Mexico governor is sponsoring a mask madness contest. Please, please. Okay. Chapter 15, Prelude to the Bowl Judgments. Then I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them the wrath of God is complete. And I saw something like a sea of glass mingled with fire, and those who have the victory over the beast, over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, standing on the sea of glass, having harps of God. They sing the song of Moses, the servant of God, and the song of the Lamb, saying, Great and marvelous are your works, Lord God Almighty. Just and true are your ways, O King of the saints. Who shall not fear you, O Lord, and glorify your name? For you alone are holy. For all nations shall come and worship before you, for your judgments have been manifested. After these things I looked, and behold, the temple of the tabernacle of the testimony in heaven was open. And out of the temple came the 7 angels, having the 7 plagues, clothed in pure bright linen, and having their chests girded with golden bands. Then one of the 4 living creatures gave to the 7 angels 7 golden bowls full of the wrath of God, who lives forever and ever. The temple was filled with smoke from the glory of God and from his power, and no one was able to enter the temple till the 7 plagues of the 7 angels were completed. Chapter 16. Then I heard a loud voice from the temple saying to the 7 angels, Go and pour out the bowls of the wrath of God on the earth. First bowl, loathsome sores. So the first went and poured out his bowl upon the earth, and a foul and loathsome sore came upon the men who had the mark of the beast and those who worshipped his image. Second bowl, the sea turns to blood. Then the second angel poured out his bowl on the sea, and it became blood as of the dead men, and every living creature in the sea died. Third bowl, the waters turned to blood. Then the third angel poured out his bowl on the rivers and springs of water, and they became blood. And I heard the angel of the waters saying, "You are righteous, O Lord, the one who is and who was and who is to be, because you have judged these things, for they have shed the blood of saints and prophets, and you have given them blood to drink, for it is their just due." And I heard another from the altar saying, "Even so, Lord God Almighty, true and righteous are your judgments." Fourth bowl, men are scorched. Then the fourth angel poured out his bowl on the sun, and power was given to him to scorch men with fire. And men were scorched with great heat, and they blasphemed the name of God who has power over these plagues, and they did not repent and give him glory. Fifth bowl, darkness and pain. Then the fifth angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his kingdom became full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues because of the pain. They blasphemed the God of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and did not repent of their sins. And probably running along. Let me see. Okay, I can do it. Good. Fifth bowl, darkness and pain. Then the fifth angel poured out his bowl on the throne of the beast, and his kingdom became full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues because of the pain. They blasphemed the God of heaven because of the pains and their sores, and did not repent of their sins. Sixth bowl, Euphrates dried up. Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great Euphrates river, and its water was dried up, so that the way of the kings from the east might be prepared. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they were spirits of demons, performing signs, which go out to the kings of the earth and of the whole earth, to gather them to the battle of the great day of God Almighty. Behold, I am coming as a thief. Blessed is he who watches and keeps his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. And they gathered them together to the place called in Hebrew Armageddon. This is the second coming of God, not the rapture. Seventh bowl, the earth utterly shaken. Then the seventh angel poured out his bowl into the air, and a loud voice came out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done." And there were noises and thunderings and lightnings, and there was great earthquake. Such a mighty and great earthquake has not occurred since the men were on the earth. Now the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon was remembered before God to give her the cup of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath. Then every island fled away, and the mountains were not found, and great hail from heaven fell upon men, each hailstone about the weight of a talent. Men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, since the plague was exceedingly great. Now, at this point, I want to tell you, for those who are left on Periscope, I want to talk to you about something, but for all of you, I am going to end the Periscope right now. I would ask you to come over to Clout Hub so that I can continue this conversation. I have something I want to talk to you about that I'm not going to put on Periscope, but all of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, I invite you to stay. I would like it if you would come over to Clout Hub, but those people on Periscope, in order to hear what I'm going to say, I need you to go to Clout Hub. So you would just go to clouthub.com/Susan Knowles, SUSANKNOWLES. Yes, clouthub.com/Susan Knowles. So please go over there. Thank you. I'll see Nick. I will wait for you over there for just a moment or two to get over there and get off of Periscope and meet me over in Clout Hub. I really want to talk to you about something, and just not going to have it on Clout Hub. I'll have it on the other platforms. So God bless you. I hope you will join me right now over at clouthub.com/Susan Knowles. See you there. God bless. All right. Yes, Karen, happy birthday. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to wait for some of the people that if they were going to come over to Clout Hub before I continue what I was going to say. And then, I have a couple things I want to talk about. So let's just give them a moment. So anybody who's on YouTube, anybody who's on Facebook can stay and we'll talk to you here. Just give them a moment to see if they come in on Clout Hub. They may not, and that's fine. To be honest with you, hey, Sally, thank you for being there. To be honest with you, I would like to start trying to use Clout Hub more than Periscope. I'm getting tired of having every single day people who can't find me, people who say, you're live, but I couldn't find you. Watching my numbers during the show, knowing where it would have been in the past had I gotten those numbers, but seeing that when I get off, those numbers are nowhere like they should be, because they've suppressed what I've done. So I don't like that. I don't like the censorship. I don't like the censorship of what they've done to the president as well. So, just so you know, in the future, I might be doing more Cloud Hub. Cloud Hub address, Renee, is cloudhub.com/Susan Knowles. One word, Susan Knowles. SUSANKNOWLES. I keep getting knocked off there. I know. And see, they do that on Periscope. I watched people today that were getting knocked off. They'd go in and out because they were getting knocked off. They'd come right back. They'd get knocked off again. They're doing that. I mean, Periscope used to be a really good platform for me. And now they do all those things. And it's not just to me. They do it to a lot of people. I like it. Cannot figure out how to chat when watching you there. I don't know, Barbara. Nobody else is having that problem, so I don't know. This is the only free speech left. I know, Sally. It is. It really is. Okay, so I don't know if people are coming over from Periscope or what they're doing, but I'll just go ahead if they're not here. We'll just, whatever. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, and I've talked to you about it before, not everybody agrees with the same thing. But, there was a time. Yeah, Barbara, it's a good platform. It really is. I wish the president would go to Cloud Hub. But okay, so you remember the time when there was the deal of the century, right? We got the deal of the century. And some people say right after the deal of the century went through, kind of all hell broke loose. We kind of got COVID-19. We had other things that happened. The economy's gone down. Hey, Nick, in a browser and can't sign up or download app yet though. Good. Cool. In a browser. That's good. So people were concerned. Some people were concerned because they were giving in that deal of the century a part of Jerusalem, I guess, if you will, to the Palestinians. That was what they wanted to do. And so God said, if you cut up my land, you divide my land, I will cut you up, that type of thing. And we see kind of after that happened, I don't know if it's connected, but I'm just telling you kind of what I see. After that happened, we saw now that Netanyahu and Benny Gantz, the government split, right? And they couldn't, for the longest time, they couldn't get a government together. They were kind of fighting each other. They had, 3 elections. They were looking at going to another election. I lost count of the elections. And suddenly at the end, they all decided, okay, well, I guess what we'll do is we'll work together. You do it for 18 months. I'll do it for 18 months. So first of all, Netanyahu is going to be doing it for, hey, Ellie Mae, yay, you made it. Netanyahu is going to be governing for 18 months. And then comes Benny Gantz for 18 months. Now, one of the things that Netanyahu is saying is, we've got to move quickly. Hey, God's girl. Robin, how are you? We've got to move quickly on following through with the deal of the century, the peace deal. And he's saying we've got to quickly move to annex the West Bank. Now, as you know, or you may know or may not know, the West Bank has been in dispute for a really long time. I think since 1948 and then again in 1967. And so Israel basically kind of sort of owns it. I mean, in their mind, they own it. In other people's minds, they don't own it. So what they want to do is they want to annex the West Bank. And the Jordanians and the Palestinians are saying, you start doing that and there's going to be problems, because that's where a lot of the Palestinians live. That's where Gaza Strip, all that, goes on. So the reason I wanted to kind of talk to you about this is that last time, who's saying what, Nick? The Jordanians and the Palestinians are saying, don't come over here to the West Bank, Israel. And they're saying there's going to be trouble if you do. Hey, Blue, good to see you. So last time, we were talking about did all of this happen because of the deal of the century? There are a lot of people who say, man, the deal of the century, that was only a small part of like East Jerusalem, where it's kind of a ghetto type area. Nobody goes there anyway. It's no big deal. But as I've said before, because does God look at it as, this is my land? You may think it's not a worthless piece of land over here that you gave away. But I told you in Joel, I believe it was, that you don't divide my land. And if you do, there's going to be issues, if you do. All right. Now I say all of that to say this. Coming up, July 1 is the date that has been set by Netanyahu. Yes, Nick, that's what I'm talking about. That it's Netanyahu who says he wants to annex the West Bank according to the deal of the century. And he wants to do it before the election of Donald Trump because he feels that this is the time to do it. Now, if that happens, again, they're set to do this unless something happens on July 1. So I'm saying this to you to say, keep your eyes and ears open for what happens on or around July 1. I think it will be a bigger indication to us of whether or not God is displeased with the fact that the deal of the century divided his land in the way that it did. It may be hard to discern, if that's happening, if something comes up, if it's happening because of that or something else, because there's so much turmoil going on. But I think that it's going to be, very pronounced. And last time when it occurred, when we had the deal of the century, it was almost immediate that something happened. So I would say somewhere right around July 1st and shortly thereafter, if this is connected to God saying in Joel and other places in the Bible that you are not to divide my land, if it has something to do that and is showing God showing his displeasure for that, we're going to see it. And I think we're going to really know that this is connected. So does that make sense for everybody of what I'm saying and kind of why I wanted to say that to you? Let me know if that makes sense to you. I'm going to take a sip of water. Does it, any questions? Anybody, does it make sense? I would not want that land. It sounds like West Texas, dry and doesn't. Yeah. And see, Barbara, I agree with you. It sounds like a horrible place. But to God, that's his land. And so does it matter to God? Yes, it does. Sally said, okay, makes sense. Good. Because, it's the way we look at it is different perhaps than the way God is looking at it. And so we have to keep that in mind. Yes, makes sense. Okay, Bonnie, cool. So that's kind of, what I wanted to tell you. Yes, it totally does. Okay. And so, remind each other, remind me and all that as we look at things coming on, around that July 1st date. Now, unless Netanyahu changes his mind, but it is kind of, I don't know, it stands out. It's a little pronounced, if you will, that the fact that the government is even split. Now we split a government. Has that ever happened before in Israel where you had two prime ministers basically taking turns in governing? I don't know that has ever happened. So I would have to believe that something's going on. I would have to believe that, while I think, and many of you do think that, we are in the end time, Paula says it makes sense. Karen says it makes sense. We will be watching. These are interesting times we are living in, Paula said. Absolutely. Blue said yes. Okay, cool. So where in the New Testament are we today? If this was told in Joel, then the Bible has foretold what will happen. Well, I mean, yeah, it seems symbolic. I think so too, Sally. It does seem very symbolic. But I think, this is why one of the things that, we're always talking about, that it's better to be focused on God. Like you can see what's going on politically. You can see that there's a lot of chaos. You can see that there's a lot of destruction going on. But if you focus on God and you sort of read the Bible and know what's going on based upon what God said will happen, then it doesn't become as, I don't know, depressing for you. You don't have the fear that you would have had because as Christians, that God said this was going to happen. And I think God has told us these things also to give us not a spirit of fear, because God does not give us a spirit of fear. So when, he's just saying, focus on what I've told you, read what I've told you is going to happen. It's coming. You're living in those times. I seriously do think that we're living in those times where we're a part of what is happening. Just have to match up where we are today. Thomas said, what percentage does Israel have now as far as the original land layout? I think that Israel has almost 60% of the West Bank. I think about 42%, I think I read, is owned by, other people occupy it, like Jordanians, Palestinians, that type of thing. So I don't know what Israel proposes to do, other than the fact that they wanted to annex West Bank, and they're doing things that are pursuant to the deal of the century. The trying of our faith works patience. Yeah, Rocky said. So, it'll be interesting. It really will be. And we're here for a time such as this. Did I think Cloud Hub? Did Cloud Hub go down? No, tell me no. Yeah. That's odd. Cloud Hub just went down. All right, everybody. I give up. It looks like Cloud Hub went down. Maybe wow, that's so bizarre. Anyway, I hope Cloud Hub got things that I was saying, but it looks like it went down and it's just sitting there. So anyway, all right, everybody, I'm going to let you go. Still on YouTube. Yeah, I know. Cloud Hub went down. That's so weird. All right, Rocky, you have a great weekend. Everybody have a great weekend. Read up on the Bible. We're watching things happen. So anyway, everybody, God bless you. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.